most powerful thing of AI as a tool. It is, one, just the greatest aggregator of all human knowledge, but two, it also gatekeeps that knowledge, right? Like, for the first time ever, you can be a specialized generalist in pretty much any field you want to be, because this thing just gives you access to all knowledge on that field up to date.
Welcome to episode 0 of Unfinished. I'm releasing this as episode 7, but it is technically the first proto-episode I did for Unfinished way back in July 2025, so literally over a year ago now. And this one is with my good friend Russ. Russ and I met at Gamescom, which we will also be doing again in literally 1 week's time. It is going to be our 4-year anniversary of meeting next week. So this one's a pretty special episode for me, I think, because it's one of the first live ones I ever did. And it was really good to have it with a friend like Russ. It sort of acts as a bit of a time capsule because this is going to be a very different episode to the ones you've been hearing so far. This one, we really deep dived on one topic mostly, which was AI and talking about AI. And this was when I was still figuring out the exact format and types of things I wanted to do with Unfinished. It's a bit of a mix of my old podcast, Growing Pains, which is games industry business, with more of the unstructured conversations that Unfinished became. But like I said, we mostly dive into AI. So what we thought a year ago in what's going to happen in the world. So some parts are outdated, some parts I think are actually still pretty relevant, and how we envisioned it going. In a lot of ways, it's a very interesting time capsule of where we were with tech and just to see how much that's changed over the course of the year. And it operates a little bit in a way of how I wanted to see Unfinished as being this time capsule of my life and stories. So yeah, I do hope that you enjoy this one, and I'll catch you again next week where we'll go back to Taiwan, the more regular format that you guys are more used to now. I don't really...
We're live.
Oh, we're live? Okay. Hi, what's up?
Who are you? What's the podcast name?
Yes, the podcast name is Midnight Boba and Pod.
Midnight Boba and Pod, yeah, because you have leader freaking Boba.
That's right. Sponsored by Chow Time. Shout out. Let us know.
Yeah, give us some sponsorship money.
That's right.
No, but this one's gonna be a different episode because it's the first live episode that I've ever actually done. I think we can go into our origin story.
Okay, I'll give it a shot. So, this was the first Gamescom I ever went to. I want to say 2023.
No,
2022 Gamescom. First time in Cologne. Happened to be a speaker because of a sponsorship from Unity. And so we were doing DevCom and Gamescom.
Yeah.
And I believe we met at the DevCom speaker dinner.
Yeah, DevCom. So it was like the Sunday.
It was the Sunday before the actual convention, and it was a very swanky affair. It was like
it
was
really
like nice.
Botanical Gardens. They had it outside in like the main area of Cologne, and like they just hired the whole place out for a bunch of gaming people.
This was the heyday. This is how you know things were going well.
Yeah. This is before we went down.
They booked the whole building. Very, very swanky affair, and Jay and I just happened to be at the same table. Vibes were good. I don't even remember the first thing we talked about, but I just knew that we would have a fun conversation.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we're just generally chatting about life and stuff and games. I don't know. Like it was like literally a table of gamers, or game related people, since we were all in the industry. And yeah, we just kind of chill, just chatted. I think we just vibed.
Yeah.
And I do remember for my talk, I needed a USB or something because I didn't have. I just had my laptop, and they're like, you can't just do that. So I had to run to you because I know you were at the booth.
Yep.
So I said, Ross,
yeah,
give me the USB, man. That's how we bonded. Yeah. Because I didn't have that because I think my laptop wasn't actually compatible with their old school setup. So yeah, I remember you had yours. So I was like, okay, I need to go down and get this before my talk.
Nice.
So that was it. And then we ended up at what was it? Opening night live. Managed to sneak in there.
Yep.
German efficiency and all. We did a lot of karaoke and like rooftop
a lot of
stories.
A lot of very fun sponsored events.
I think that the events that were more fun were the non-sponsored ones, like the karaoke that we put on with the Newsy peeps, and then like hanging out the bars.
It was just like a tiny little
the whole
dive bar that had like an entrance down the stairs and no exit, and like 40 people in a space. Yeah,
we like captured the whole night. Like everyone else was annoyed because we had all the songs basically. Like I think pretty much from the time they opened to like midnight, we were the only ones singing.
Yep. Yep.
So no, that was a really good time. And then we decided we'd do it again in Korea.
Yep. We did G-Star together. First time in Korea for me as well.
Yeah, I think that was my like second.
Yeah.
That was my second Gamescom and like my second time in Korea, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Did a
Also,
Jeju Island trip.
Jeju was good. Jeju was really nice. That was during the World Cup as well. Korea
Yep.
was there. We saw a Korea match.
We saw a Korea match.
We had the bulldog chicken.
Bulldog chicken.
That was good times, man. That was a
lost
fun
in
trip.
Jeju.
Got lost in Jeju.
Story for another time, but we got lost in Jeju.
Did a little bit of hiking around the mountains. Had a lot of barbecue, a lot of black pork barbecue, purple rice. Yeah, no, so that was like the origin story, and we're still here 2 years on.
Yeah, feels longer than that. No, 3.
Yeah, 3. So now it's 3.
Yeah.
Now it's basically 3. No, that's true. That's true. It's 20.
Feels longer than that in a good way.
Yes, in a good way. In a good way.
Yeah.
I mean, that brings me on to like where we are.
You came to my wedding.
I did come to your wedding. That was last year. Just a little over. Yeah, no, it was a really cool wedding. You guys rented out a nice castle, all fancy. And then, I remember you did the Harry Potter bird thing, right?
The owl.
The owl
delivered the rings.
That was really
fun.
That was really cool. No, that was
Didn't drop the owl.
Did not drop the owl.
Did one test run.
Oh really? Was it just one?
Just one test run. It was like maybe 20 minutes before the ceremony, and the owl lady was like, "All right, come here. This is how it works."
It's like just do this, do that. It's done. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, it worked out.
Yeah, just like we rehearsed.
Yeah, and still happily married 1 year later. So that's a plus.
Doing good.
Yeah. So now I'm in Toronto. Thank you so much for hosting me. I am staying at yours.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. And it's been an amazing sort of couple of weeks just going around Toronto, checking out the hub, the food scene, especially the food scene. Food's been good. Tech's been good as well. The hubs were pretty interesting here.
I guess, what would you say was the biggest difference that you saw between what's happening in London and what we saw just kind of roaming around Toronto, meeting some of the founder friends that we talked to and seeing what people were working on?
I mean, honestly, I was surprised because I thought it would be more different than it kind of is. Because my perception with North America in general was that it would be kind of more vibing. There'd be more money flowing into the ecosystem because next to America and everything.
Yeah,
and there'd just be I guess just more ambition in some ways in terms of more crazy ideas and more people out there hustling. And I mean there is a vibe of that because your work culture, you have less holidays, it's less specifically 9 to 5. But honestly, it felt very similar to London to me. It's still from our discussions, it's still very hard to get investors here. The deal sizes aren't that big necessarily, so raising is still an issue. I mean, there's obviously access to American time zone investors, but at the same time, you've got to get to that side. So it's not necessarily as local to just Toronto or Canada. So from that front, it was actually really similar in terms of ecosystem. I think, I don't know, the biggest difference in some ways is there are more hubs here. Like you said, Mars Discovery, 111 that we went to where you could kind of just go in and work. So there's more space. And in London, it's hard to find a good co-working environment like that for startups and things. There are hot desks and stuff and communities that are building them, but they charge you money to get that hot desk, right? They charge you on a monthly fee, so there's no easy access to that kind of environment. And just from the event side, I think event side is also actually London has a pretty good scene there. At least from what I've seen now that technology is sort of rearing its head. I think 6 months ago I would have disagreed. 6 months ago I would probably said it's more lively here.
Yeah.
But over this summer, I've definitely seen sort of the AI pump grow in Europe and in London especially. So there's been a lot more movement there in terms of VCs. A lot of big HQs from the US are moving to London.
Right.
So I think it just makes a lot of sense. And it's something that someone at YC said last year as well, which was you go to the US, you build your reputation, you get your investors, and then you can come to Europe, somewhere like UK, you have, again, local language is English. It's very easy to get around, very easy to communicate in terms of time zones with pretty much anywhere in the world. So you can get the money, you can get that network, and then you just expand your runway. Especially if you're looking at outsourcing your team or most of your team, you can literally just do it all from London at much lower for cost and then keep that runway going, at least from a salary perspective, more than the US.
Yeah.
I guess Canada, in my mind, is similar in terms of runway to what the UK would give.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the advantage is the time thing if you get both the Asian and the American time zone there.
Yeah. I mean, I think so. A couple of things I want to touch on. So I would be remiss if I didn't shout out BetaKit's most ambitious print article and digital, which I have. So I'm going to make sure he gets a chance to read it before he leaves. That does highlight some pretty incredible companies building in and around Canada, and also touches on a lot of the export of Canadian talent and expertise in AI, in data science, and even like building rockets.
Yeah,
that is happening. So that can kind of address some of the ambition that I've been hearing about, because you're not the only person that has said this. Another thing that is, in terms of runway, if you raise in the US but build in Canada, you get the benefit of the currency exchange. That has happened with some raises. I think it's harder to get pre-seed, like seed and earlier.
Yeah.
The funds have been investing in the later rounds.
Yeah, but that's the same in the UK.
Yeah.
So I agree. I mean, it's the exact same ecosystem thing. I think pre-seed is very hard there, seed is very hard there. But like, again, if you've gotten that initial leg up,
yeah,
it's much easier for the VCs to invest if you still exist after like a pre-seed seed
exactly.
stage. You're getting Series A, then they're like, these guys are serious business, right? And those are like multi-million-dollar rounds, so you can get a wider group of investors.
Yeah.
I think, you know, to your point of the ambition side and having more people, probably because you're closer to the US. And that was more my assumption, right? Because you're closer to the US, you'll have more people that are on the hustle grind.
Yeah.
But a lot of the people I've met, like there've been some really good founders and talent and stuff. But like you know, we were hanging out with your friends earlier today and stuff, and I'm just like, other friends I have here, most people are pretty just like, you know, normal. Not everyone is like, I need to hustle, I need to make a startup, I need to like build something, like, which is very much what I think of when I think of like North America and the American dream. In the US, the vibe I get is always like from my, I guess maybe it's just because my friends there are more entrepreneurial. And like you're one of the cases here. The network that I know is just very much on the grind of, you know, we need to know what the new tech is. We need to be able to use it. We need to be building, hustling, building that wealth. Like that's very much ingrained in a lot of, I guess, the more urban parts of North American society. So if I'm looking like New York, San Francisco, like the kind of hubs that I am most familiar with. And I think in Toronto, it still seems like there's enough of a life element there that is not just about the work, grind, and hustle alone.
Yeah, I'd say so. I think Toronto gives you a pretty broad variety of personalities.
Yeah.
I think there is a lot of focus on the kind of like pull up your bootstraps and build it from zero for the immigrants that are coming in. There's a lot more of that mentality of like the hustle and the grind. And yeah, I mean, some people are just happy working their 9 to 5, you know, like they go up to the cottage on the weekend, just kind of chill. And I mean, yeah, I would say it's a little bit less intense than like SF or NYC.
Yeah. I mean, that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's why I say like both ecosystems actually feel very similar to me in terms of that. And I mean, that's cool. That's cool. There's definitely like a lot of good talent here. I'm not going to deny that. I guess question for you, like what's stopping all that talent? Because I know you had, who was it, like some from NVIDIA, OpenAI, like they studied, you said, here in Canada, and then they moved over, right? Like a lot of the tech talent.
Yeah, I mean, AlexNet, kind of the kickoff to the whole, you know, machine learning craze, and then obviously attention is all you need later. I mean, that came out of U of T. So there's been an established history of talented data scientists and machine learners that, you know, Waterloo has an amazing comp sci program. Their internship program kind of, or co-op they call it, like has inspired a lot of other universities to do the same because it works. It's like you're in your undergrad, you apply for like a work term, you get placed into a really fast moving technology company, and then they usually hire you after because you're a Waterloo comp sci grad, right?
Yeah, but then don't they just move to the US?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen something of a really interesting reverse brain drain. Normally that was the pathway. I know tons of Waterloo grads, tons of U of T comp sci, you know, that have moved to the, you know, SF, Boston, NYC. And now you're seeing their, like 10 years ago from that, they're wanting to come back, right? Geopolitical reasons,
Yeah.
currency, they've earned enough, right?
Yeah.
So it is a very interesting time to be building in Canada because we are able to attract the talent back.
I see a lot of like Europe is only good for the Americans, is how I kind of see it with how expensive things have become there, especially London. Like, it's great if you have money. If you have money, you can live a very good life and you're living very comfortably. So if you go do your hustle like 20s, 30s in the US, earn, that 3, 4, 500K salary that you get in tech, in like 5 to 10 years, you come to like Europe, you've got enough savings that you can basically sustain your life there very comfortably, or like, I guess, here.
Yeah.
And you can be in the upper echelons. You've got that like reputation built by being in a top company. You've got that network that you can kind of bring across there. So I think it's similar here, right? Like, you're literally bringing that in terms of waste brain drain, and then having like a better life for you and your family by being in a Canada or London. So I can definitely think from that angle it's really good. It's more from like the wealth generation, creation, and growth that I find it really hard in Europe. And what I'm feeling is like it's going to be hard in Canada as well, in terms of getting that initial start and scaling to a point of like, can I retire in 5 years or something?
Yeah, I mean, I think what was interesting with Toronto Tech Week is one of the big events was Homecoming. And that was kind of like the theme. It was, okay, now you've built expertise, you've built experience in big tech all around the world, coming back from the US. But like Shopify's here, Cohere is building here, and Simple. I mean, these are companies that have global presence.
Yeah.
That are still building and rejecting the idea that they have to leave, actually.
I mean, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to deny that, but we got the same thing in the UK.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, yeah, that kind of fintech
we literally we've got the fintech, but actually recently AI is moving there as well. So we had Anthropic open a big HQ in London. We've got a couple other sort of like startups and things like Granola and stuff doing just really well there. And I think just from a hub perspective, just, being the time zone in the middle,
being in between is really helpful. Yeah.
We get a really good rep from that side, with a lot of, I think now climate tech also coming, a couple more like things on the NGO side. So you've got a good variety growing there as well. And I've definitely seen a lot of US firms, especially right now with Trump administration and stuff, looking to leave. So I'm guessing some of them are like, Canada's good.
Yeah.
The others are equally like, London's good. Obviously, you're like right next to the US, so whether that's good or bad, I don't know. Time will tell. Who knows about 50 West State?
Yeah, I mean, I think overall it will be still beneficial for us to be close. I think what a lot of companies have done traditionally is they will use the Canadian market as a testing ground because it's so close culturally in that sense. It's so close demographically. And once your project successfully works, like we see this in mobile game, a lot of the time, right? Like a soft launch will happen in like Australia, Canada, and then a couple of months after some tweaking, like different parts of Asia before they go live in the China
I think
America.
like Philippines and like India are really popular as well because they simulate the US market pretty well. Same with parts of Europe. So no, the soft launch angle, I think it is very good to start in those kind of territories and scale. I mean, like, unless you can literally be in the US.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, that is still kind of where we end up, right? Like, US is where you make your money. It is where you kind of, if you're building something, like whether it's a game, whether it's a product, like most of your money, in terms of scale, is going to come
like
from
a numbers
US.
game, right? I think it makes sense. I think also there's a large kind of emphasis on, like, if you're building a tool or a platform that can help other people accelerate their time to market their own product and strategy, that's where the building is happening in terms of numbers as well, right? So it kind of makes sense. I think it's always going to be a numbers game. I think the population and the kind of ability to spend is also a very attractive factor to companies that are building like that. So
for sure. No, I don't think that's going to change, unfortunately, as much as I wish you'd have a bit more even distribution. I still think the US is going to dominate on that front.
I mean, I think markets are moving in a way that stimulates growth in other industries and areas too. Like, other countries have realized that if they export primarily to a market that is restricting their ability to do business, that they have to find business elsewhere. They have to make new trade deals. They have to develop new markets. I know, like Brazil is doing a big push on trying to find new markets to export products because you have to build resilience in your supply chain. Like ultimately, at the end of the day.
Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, like the Trump tariffs have kind of, I think, woken everyone up to just like how at the beck and whim of the US they have been. So I think, across the board, I hope at least people have that kind of sentiment of you kind of need to figure out what the future might hold. And especially right now with AI, with how that's kind of shaking up things, not just in tech, but just kind of across the board in terms of how you're using it. I think it's going to be interesting to see what the future entails for a lot of these countries, both developing and like already developed ones per se. But yeah,
I have a funny thought exercise for you.
Okay.
Do you think that when we get to sovereign AIs, like you basically attribute to the AI the personality quirks of the population centers or the countries that you're trying to represent?
You mean like have AI agents that represent the country? So like we do a model UN where it's like AI is for Canada, AI for US, AI for UK.
Yeah. Do you think we like anthropomorphize?
Just modelize, like get stereotype agents basically?
Yeah, because I mean, how else would you want to represent your country, right? I think about that for a second, right? Like,
I think this goes to a discussion of like, would we just let the AI rule over us kind of thing?
We've had talks like, about this.
If we're going for thinking in systems, like the thinking fast and slow stuff, it makes much more sense for AI to have a fairer sort of overview on the world because it is just an aggregate of everything. And I think with humans in charge, you have sort of the edge cases, right? But I think the problem that we would have as humans is sort of the lack of empathy with an aggregate baseline versus the messiness on the edges.
Yeah.
And I think if you're going to do, like, this is the problem with stereotypes already, is that it doesn't represent everyone. It's like a one-size-fits-all kind of solution. And I don't think that's ever really worked properly. I mean, like, a lot of, you could argue, like, lots of politics and stuff is one-size-fits-all because you have to, like, pick black and white, you know, conservative or labor in a lot of these, like, UK and stuff. But I just don't see people allowing that to happen where they have, I guess, an agent that's just going to like represent their nation and their interests on a global sort of scale.
Interesting.
Just because people in power are already incentivized not to give up that power. Right? So how do you convince the people in power to be like, hey, put this in, it's going to be a stereotype of everything. It's going to hit about like 50% of everyone's needs and miss out sort of all the edges around that. I just don't think that politicians will be incentivized to support that kind of program. And that people will also just be like, you've got enough doom and gloom people be like, robots are going to take over, computers are going to take over. I just don't think they'd allow it. Yeah.
So I think it would be easier to have an AI help navigate some of the complexities of trade deals and tariffs and what's fair.
100%.
And that kind of led to the thinking of like that model UN of AI agents.
No, I mean, like, I agree with you. I think that would be like a cool world, right? Until somebody messes up, that would be like, that's a cool idea, and it helps solve a lot of the inefficiencies. I think my problem in like the realistic part of the world is like humans are messy, and they just like being messy. You know, like we like things. It's like when you look at things like Uncanny Valley or anything in like film or art, right? Or if something in gaming looks too realistic, people get like freaked out. It's like, I don't like this. Right. We like the messiness on the edge. You like even like if you're in an environment and it's just totally like silent and peaceful, it kind of freaks you out.
Yeah, a lot of people get uncomfortable.
Yeah, you need like some kind of background, just noise constantly there to be like almost have that sense of safety because that's just what you're used to. And for me, that's what I kind of relate this to, is like what you're saying is almost in that like the perfect range of like it's all controlled, it works perfectly, and it sort of puts inefficiency to the point of having the most benefit for the most number of people. And I just don't think that that works with the world where you have capitalist society with a self-interested few that have that much control and wealth versus the majority, and like sort of the interplay between the two. So for me, just because of the world that I guess I know and I live in, I'm just a little bit skeptical that'll change to a point of people in that upper echelon giving up control, that they have been like, we've sacrificed and gotten to this point and like we kind of deserve to kind of keep it, which is what the sentiment I've seen from like the Elons and stuff of the world.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the interesting question here is then, as a society, do we tend to gravitate towards the most efficient or effective means, or do we tend to gravitate to what we're most comfortable with, right? Because
I mean, most comfortable.
Yeah.
Like all. I mean, we were just talking about this earlier today, right? Like
Mhm.
we created tech so we could be lazy.
Yeah.
Like literally, that is like the human thing. Like the lazier we
Get
can
stuff delivered
be,
to you, get picked up and dropped
exactly,
off. Yeah.
exactly. It is kind of scary to see if you look at the efficiency versus lazy thing. Like I think we are at that point of over efficiency. I think everything going too far on the productivity that is actually hitting our mental health.
Uh-huh.
And on the flip side of that, we're still trying to be as lazy as ever or even more because this technology allows us to, and you're kind of seeing a conflux of both of these elements.
Yeah.
I guess interesting question for you on this side is
Yeah.
you actually did the transition from games to AI, which is something I'm kind of like looking at.
Mm-hmm.
Why, how, what is your thought on like AI right now and where it's going to go? And why you made that transition in the first place for like, I guess, the future growth or whatever.
Yeah, so I had been at Unity for almost 2 years at that point. Like Unity Muse was not released. It was not something that we had. I think Unity had just acquired Auto, which was a tool for the Vivox team to essentially be able to detect toxicity using machine learning.
Okay.
So they were already doing like the natural language processing. They were doing that AI piece, but on the developer facing side, there wasn't something that I was aware of at the time yet.
Yeah.
And so when I was approached by InWorld, I kind of did some soul searching and said, like, what is the future of this tech? And InWorld was and is, putting LLMs in 3D spaces. So I saw a very natural bridge for me to take my gaming background and apply it to a lens with AI. So I guess it wasn't really like a full leap out. It was like half step. It was like I could get the expertise, get early credibility in what it was really like to work with LLMs, understand how machine learning worked, like understand more about fine tuning and all of the intricacies that go into that. And I just want to highlight too that a lot of the stuff that we use GPUs to do and accelerate for machine learning, if you were a graphics programmer, you were working with like matrix math, you were writing shaders, we were already doing kind of some of the parallel computing that was happening. So from that lens, it was a little bit easier for me to digest what was going on the ML side.
Yeah.
So that was what I kind of realized. I was like, well, if we're using this tech to bring LLMs into 3D spaces, which I still think are very important because you're basically adding character, adding dynamicism to your environments, then why not, leave this safe? At the time, this was, pre all the layoffs that happened and followed with the Russ attack. Why not just give this an opportunity and kind of see where it led to? And yeah, that was kind of the thought process. It was like, this was an opportunity to step into this field, still have a gaming adjacent lens to it, and then just build like expertise and credibility.
Yeah.
It was a big step. It was not an easy decision for sure.
No, but I mean, it's really cool and like to see kind of where you've come now, InWorld, and then you did Conway as well. So yeah, that journey, just growing in the space and going towards the AI angle. And I mean, hey, the bet I think definitely paid off, right? Considering where the world went.
Yeah,
with
absolutely.
Both gaming and AI at the same time.
And now with the agentic side of things, I'm really excited to be doing some work for artificial agency. So that'll be a lot of fun. I'm really exploring the agents and the director side of bringing LLMs into these 3D spaces again.
Yeah. Oh, sweet. I will say that's one point where I'd probably say Canada does win out over something like the UK. Is like you guys were here ahead of the curve for us, right? Like UK's only really seen, I think, the AI side of things pick up in the last half a year. Because I mean, I was into it even a year ago, and I was speaking to friends about things like vibe coding, which wasn't even a term back then, or like what's happening with AI, and looking at like I was looking at Hugging Faces and like Llama 3 and everything like that. I don't know, last summer, and nobody I knew in like UK or Europe like had even touched it.
Mm-hmm.
And over here, I was speaking to you. I was speaking to my friend in New York and stuff, and they're just like, AI is everywhere.
Yeah.
AI is everywhere. We're like 100% on it. And there in UK, it's like all regulations and like Apple's not releasing their suite of AI tools and enhancements and things like that. And like my concern back then was like, what if we just get different worlds where like the level of AI tech and what's available is going to be, for instance, here where there's less regulation, or in Asia, just way ahead of the curve compared to what you get in Europe. And Europe just gets that sort of like the tail end of everything. And I definitely see that happening to a degree, but I think Trump kind of helped that with all the shit that went down to get some people out of the US.
Interesting.
And that's actually why I'm seeing more of a pump in Europe right now. I mean, you just had Lovable, which kind of exploded as a unicorn.
Yep.
And like I remember day one when they launched, it was a very different company, and they had the ambition to make a global company from Europe. I think Sweden has had a better reputation than anywhere else in Europe, but UK is also, I think, catching up. We've had a couple of new startups, and like I've met some other people looking at the AI side.
Yeah.
So slowly, I can see the grid is changing slowly.
Yeah.
But it is definitely moving, and I think that is one thing where I'll give Canada more of a credit in terms of that. Is like you said, you made this move. I think what, like 2 years now or something like that.
2 years now. Yeah.
So still definitely ahead of what I'm seeing there, because I was like, I can see it over here. Doesn't exist in London.
Yeah, I mean, I think countries have realized the importance of having not just sovereign AI, but sovereign AI expertise and compute. Because I do believe that it will lead to such a follow-on impact on the rest of your society that it could create this world where you have, like, imagine if a country never got, I don't know, text-to-speech.
Yeah.
Just as an example. And other countries were able to deploy so many more products, so many more experiences, just because they could process human speech, like from an output, right?
100%.
So you can just extrapolate that 10 years into the future with some sort of like whatever the next version of operator is, that like you Neuralink think and it, extracts everything that you actually want to do and does it for you.
Only in America first.
and so, I mean, I think other countries have realized the importance. Like the Canadian government's investing in AI infrastructure, and they're funding AI companies to continue building in Canada.
Yeah.
UK, we talked about building that supercomputer data center with almost 4,000 Grace Hopper chips. So I actually think the limiting factor beyond like expertise and regulation is going to be electricity. I think the countries with the most robust power grids to be able to convert that electricity into tokens will be the countries that win the AI. I don't want to call it arms race, but
I mean, that's what it is.
That's what it is. But, like the AI token race, let's call it the token race.
Yeah.
Because there's always going to be a balance, like clean energy, renewables versus your fossil fuels versus the actual electricity that your grid needs for like aluminum plants or other kinds of manufacturing, right?
No.
So the quicker countries can deploy stable, robust electricity grids will directly impact their ability to like have sovereign AI. And not many people are thinking about that.
I mean, for me, what that basically just says is if you go nuclear, you win.
Yeah. Actually, that's technically already how it works. Just in on the civilian side of that.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. No, I mean, I agree. I think there's just a lot of things that people just haven't wrapped their head around. And I do still think it depends where in the world, right? Because a lot of this is regulatory. That's why you're seeing like Trump pulling out of all the climate stuff, because it's like, no, gas pedal, full steam ahead. We just want to be as far ahead in this game as we can.
Yeah.
Whereas Europe is definitely got they've got good energy efficiency and systems set up, but they've definitely kind of got like the hands tied behind their back with some of the things that they do with regulation by comparison. Like, I guess the question there becomes like, does it matter if you win ethically or not?
I mean, this is a hot button topic, but like, it is very difficult to train an LLM on purely ethically sourced data. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And so if you continue to extrapolate that line of thinking, I think we get to a point where we do need the regulations such that we have at least a bare level of common rules, I would say, that companies are able to follow, so that they're not basically just like burning the playbook every time, like just ignoring all the rules. Because yeah, I mean, you will get to a point where it's like, do we do this the correct but most expensive way, or do we do this the fastest way but it's totally illegal? Like, this is happening at tons of companies where, I mean, even the process of like scanning a book is a contentious thing now, right? Like,
Yeah.
there was an article where, you know, a company was like scanning books to get input and then burning the books after.
Burning the
books after. And
wow, we're going
Yeah.
Fahrenheit 451 now.
so yeah, I mean, I think there has to be a common ground that companies who are working in these spaces can agree to. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you just have this race to the bottom, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where my concern is that countries essentially become the limiting factor in that, right? Like social systems and regulations, because like it's not just an arms war for technology on a global scale, it's an arms war for technology between countries.
Yeah.
And who's going to be sort of the global leader in the future? Like you've got that, you know, the US-China contraventions, you got kind of Europe on the sidelines doing whatever they're doing half the time.
Yeah.
So it's not just like a one and done kind of thing. Like already you're seeing massive stuff that happen in the US. Like you got mass layoffs, you got consolidation in the space, you're looking at what Meta's doing and things. So there's already a lot of changes happening just within the regions in terms of the political play that's happening between companies. But then you bring that to like a global level and you look at just what's happening between borders.
Yeah.
And I think that interplay becomes even kind of more dramatic because like US wants to keep its prominence. That's why they're kind of being like, we don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like people can die, whatever. Let's just get the
I mean,
thing
it's
out
all
of the way.
export controls, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if you have the ability to restrict this level of advancement for, you know, adversarial countries, I think you almost have to. I think it is very concerning for politicians to think that if they were to, like, let's say the US lifts all export controls on NVIDIA chips, how soon could China catch up and then exceed the expertise in machine learning and the capabilities of AI, right? I mean, I hope somebody's already writing the sci-fi novel where, like, you know, how good your country's AI is defines your character arc. Yeah, I think that will be not that too far in the distant future.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's hope it don't go too far down there.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is both closer and further away than we think. I think, like, if you look at the promise of AI agents from 6 months ago, 8 months ago, a lot of that hasn't been delivered yet. I think in like very structured showcase demo examples, they work. But as soon as you have a messy human interaction, like book this flight, but below X amount of dollars and only with this air carrier, all of a sudden, like all these complexities can really throw off the systems, right? And so I think it will come down to the next moment of inflection point where
the next Eureka moment.
Yeah, where it's either post transformer architecture or people crack the code of like how to actually make very competent autonomous agents.
Yeah. No, I mean we'll see where it is because I agree. It's like almost to a point with the models coming out every like month and passing every like benchmark. It almost feels like it's kind of stagnating. Where like each iterative change isn't necessarily adding that much more to these models and to the capabilities.
I think OpenAI is trying to figure out how to change their naming system, right? Because the incremental updates between the numbers are harder for people to discern, even capability wise, and that is just echoed by other AI companies as well. It's hard to differentiate sometimes.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like they're all got the 04, 4.5, 2, 2.5, reasoning, research, blah blah.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, there's definitely it's hard to tell exactly what the use cases are, and I mean we'll see what they refine it with. I mean they've got their own issues with all the recent acquisitions and losses.
I mean, I think what was really interesting too about the space is that you're seeing a lot more competition than would be typical in other areas of tech. because a lot of the research is driven by academics. And
Yeah.
like even for a closed box model, they'll still publish an archive paper where they'll dig into the like kind of thinking, like, you know, you can go read the DeepSeek paper,
Yeah.
and kind of like figure out what they did with the face attention. And so obviously it doesn't allow you to one-to-one replicate the technology, but it gives you a starting point to understand how that tech happens. And that is not always the case, right? I think in the past, like basically patent law would prevent
Yeah.
another company from being able to replicate your idea, for example.
Yeah.
But now companies are saying we achieved this, and this is not exactly the way we did it, but here's a blueprint.
No, exactly. I mean, it's to the point that I think we discussed it of like there are models that are completely open source.
Yeah.
Right. So you can
Weights
literally
are
see
open,
the
yeah.
inner workings of how this thing was put together and why it works the way it does, and just extrapolate from that. I mean, that's how a lot of these, you know, other models even came about, and how, you know, people have been able to fine tune so much.
Yeah.
And I think that's sort of me the most powerful thing of AI as a tool is like it is one, just the greatest aggregator of all human knowledge, but two, it also just ungatekeeps that knowledge, right? Like I think we had that discussion where it's like for the first time ever, you can be sort of a specialized generalist in pretty much any field you want to be, because this thing just gives you access to all knowledge on that field up to date.
Yeah.
And can help you sort of explain and filter through it at a base level that,
Yeah,
so long as you have a little bit of critical thinking skills, you can basically infer from just common sense what that means when you sort of pattern match and see what this field actually is about, where we are, where it's going, what it's founded on.
Yep. I mean, I'm so excited at the fact that we're democratizing access to information.
Yeah.
I think for the first time in human history, you can pick up knowledge at such an accelerated pace, even if your native language is not English. Like,
yeah, exactly.
That is super exciting. I think
100%.
More people having more access to information has more positives than negatives, and that's what I'm excited about. Like more people being able to learn quickly about whatever they're interested in, like whether that's quantum mechanics or like best way to bake a cake. I think that's good. Like knowledge is power, and I think the more we distribute that power, I think our societies as a whole ideally benefit from that.
No, I agree. I mean, that's exactly what I was also saying is like, yeah, for the first time, knowledge is free.
Yeah.
Right? That's literally how we've gatekept everything in human history. If you look at, you know, the preeminence of like Oxbridge as institutions or just any system ever.
Like higher learning,
Like even if you just go now, read like Google documentation or documentation from any system built in like the last 20, 30 years on like the internet, most of them are just really trash. And like they use so much just technical jargon to try and filter people out. You could just get an AI to be like, yo, just give me this in like layman human terms.
Yeah. TLDR,
right?
Yeah.
This is literally what it is. Like you are getting access to the simplest form of this knowledge. I mean, this is the biggest issue I had in university when I was studying like math and econ.
Yeah.
And we had like 1,000-page textbooks, which honestly only needed to be like 50 to 100 pages.
Yeah. It's just filler.
Yeah. 900 pages was like filler of just like random words they threw in there to try and sound smart. Because that's what academics kind of want to do. They want to, you know, prove a point of like, hey, I kind of know my stuff and I can throw in technical jargon because like I've learned it. And I'm like, you don't actually need that. And AI kind of gets rid of all that bullshit filter to a degree and lets you get to the core of the actual concepts and learn them, understand them, and grow from them in like much simpler terms, which a lot of my teachers couldn't teach me, but AI can teach me much better in that front, especially if we're going from core fundamentals, not saying to the point of inference where you need to like be on the edge of thinking and creating. I think that's still an element it's missing, but to get to that point is now easier than ever before. And no, that excites me in terms of just like how it opens up to the whole world right now in terms of like you can kind of access GPT or Claude or any of these from like pretty much anywhere.
In certain areas.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you have access to them, right? You have access to the world's information, which universities still charge you like what? I mean, as a local student in the UK, I pay 10K, but I know international pay like 25K. That's like 50, 60K Canadian a year just to go for fees in these places. So it is a different world just from the exposure, and especially for young people, right? Like I know so many young people that now have been using GPT in school or like pre-university or even in university.
Yeah.
And a lot of those courses are now enabled by these things.
Yeah.
And like they know a lot more about what's going on in the world or what they even want to do. Like when I was studying in school, one of the things that I found hardest was like I didn't necessarily know what I wanted to do in university because like our school didn't cover every subject imaginable. And like things like what like psychology, sociology, like any side things.
Yeah,
they don't teach you any of that kind of stuff in school, so I don't know what that is or if I'd have an interest in it. Now with the concourse on the internet and then with what AI does, you can actually search up a term and be like, don't go just deep into the well of what is this? Is this something I want to learn? Is it something I want to do? So no, I'm super excited about how it's democratizing knowledge, but also scared about what that means for the work of knowledge workers, which is where we kind of align and where we are. And I mean, at least on the US side or in the tech side right now, it seems like it's almost an excuse to fire people.
Yeah, 100%.
Because you're just like, it's not like we didn't know that these people weren't necessarily needed before because they weren't. It's just now it's like, oh, AI, so we're just going to use it as an excuse rather than anything else to be like, oh yeah, we can just cut people.
Exactly.
Get those margins better.
Yeah, I mean, I would much rather 10x somebody's proficiency and make a workforce of like 1,000 people be as effective as 10,000 than say, oh, I just need 100 people to do 1,000 people's jobs. Like, it's very weird because if you're a tech company and you're saying AI is making us so much more effective and efficient, why wouldn't you just have those people all learn and iterate and like use these tools and then maximize their efficiency, right? Like, well, there's a little bit of a disconnect between when you're saying AI is so good that we don't need as many people, instead of AI is so good, all of a sudden our company can do X money more things in a short amount of time, right?
I think part of that's just because like money is still kind of finite.
Yeah, I mean, what's really interesting to me too is that like you have tiers of like how important this employee is to your company, right? Like, I remember reading an article where I think it was like Meta or Google was paying employees not to work. You showed me that article. It was like they were paying them so that they wouldn't get poached by other companies.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, you're also cutting people who probably are doing some form of work because you had them hired before. And I think it's such a tricky way because layoffs will always happen.
Yes.
I think even at the most efficient company, one day you would just realize that some product is not working, and some people, unfortunately, who are working on that product, that's just an inevitability of business.
Yes.
I think AI is just being used as the blanket excuse.
It's a scapegoat.
It's just a scapegoat for what these companies have been planning before anyway. And I mean, it's the most egregious in gaming right now, where like companies that launch successful products that have critical acclaim, that are still profitable, right, to the tune of like many times what they're spending on their games division, are still cutting people. And it's like, you can't win. You can't win if your company is doing great. You definitely won't win if your company is doing bad. So it's like, if you're a person in games right now, it is so painful. It's like every direction you turn, there's like a closed door.
100%. No, it really is. I mean, I'm facing that. So yeah, it sucks. And games is also just seen as this outlier, especially in the West. In the East, it has a bit of a better reputation, but in the West, it's just seen as this like outlier for kind of lazy people or like the gamer sentiment. And as we've discussed, I think games are the hardest products to build and actually have.
Game devs are the best devs. Hire game devs.
You really should.
They'll build everything for you.
But I mean, that is exactly sort of the concern that I have, kind of going to that point of how we're using AI as an excuse. But I'm also like, if we do get to a point of universal basic income, right, and you have some level of wealth distribution because you will from whatever's left over in the old system, isn't that basically what they're trying to get to now with the layoffs? Like why have these layoffs? Like, because before you would have incentives to hire people, you've had incentives to grow tax-wise, and even just from, like I mentioned, from the company health perspective, if you're hiring employees, it looks like you're good on paper.
Yeah.
Now that has almost changed to be like, the less people you have, the better your company is because you're leaner and you're running more efficiently. So that sort of like almost media and like perception outlook of how society views these companies is changing. Like the 1-person unicorn, or like the 100 people or 20 people.
Yeah.
Right? Like that has become much more mainstream, and the ethos of like, the golden thing you're supposed to achieve. And I think partially just because of the sentiment change in society of what's appreciated, that's where a lot of big companies and things are going towards, is like, hey, we need smaller, leaner teams because this is what we're being told is like the upper echelon of the best out there are doing, is they're working in smaller, leaner teams and making a shit ton of money for their investors. And we have stakeholders too, and they want the exact same thing. So we're just going to cut the fat. Whereas before it was like the bigger you are as a company in terms of headcount, the healthier you look, the better you look from an outside perspective, right? The whole like stability clause and all of that. So I feel part of it's just a general discourse changing rather than them actually needing to do it. Before it was like these people had their jobs almost on a show for everyone else. Now that show doesn't need to exist, so company execs can be like, okay, we're just gonna cut the fat.
I mean, I think there's a direct correlation with interest rates. I think when money was free and cheap, we like just invested.
We definitely
in growth.
overhired. Yeah,
we just invested in growth because, like you said, it was a nice number to tout and say like X% year over year employee growth. And now that the chickens have come home to roost with regards to money and capital allocation, like I think companies have realized the inherent cost to that. Even if those employees are productive, even if the things that they make are good.
100%.
You can't beat the math. It comes down to stats and econ at the end of the day.
The numbers tell the story. And I mean that's exactly the thing, right? Like, and that, like to that point exactly, the numbers are now. We have, what was it, like OnlyFans was the most profitable company per head. And it's like everyone wants to be like that now. Everyone basically is chasing that instead of chasing the growth on employee plus rate. It's literally, okay, how much money per head can we make? That's a new statistic that's like more prominent now. So I mean, we'll see where that leads the world to. It's definitely going to be interesting. I'm very interested to see what happens in the future. I also want to be on the side that actually makes money and has a good life. But yeah,
I mean, this
we'll
is interesting because I think there's a lot of parallels to people talking about like the one-person unicorn. And like the solo developer indie game. I think that even the most dedicated founder will still have a support system, external
100%.
contractors, like so many other things that even if on paper they were the only person in their company, they could not have done that by themselves. Just like you have solo studios that have external help.
I mean, 2 points. One is, I think, just from a sense of humans are tribal. Like, we need that support system. I don't think anyone has ever succeeded on their own, just purely on their own. But I guess what my question around that would be, you have the one core founder that you see is the main driving force in the face. And you have the workers below, but how many of them are actually, getting paid or on like a good salary or rate, right? Like, how many aren't just developers in Asia or like interns coming out of uni because they can do basically the same work and they're desperate, right? Like if you're desperate for work, some people will even work for free because they'll be like, this might lead to something in the future. Or if this thing blows up, I can say I worked or helped with this and get a job somewhere else. So you are just seeing that where like, I think the influencer economy is a really interesting one to point from this is like, you had influencers that were like almost promoting for brands without having those sponsorships
until they got the sponsorships.
Exactly. So that's what I'm like, what's to stop that happening? Sponsor us. Yeah, exactly. But what's to stop that from happening where like you get developers and stuff coming in and working for free just for the hope that they might get a job in the future from this one person startup that has the wealth to do it?
I mean, I think we will see a quote unquote one person unicorn within the next 5 years. I just don't know how much of that is directly attributable to just that one person, right? Like, I think I don't know how we're going to be able to stop people because arguably it is of significant benefit. Like the first internet OpenAI, like I don't know if they were paid as much as they should have, but you're the first internet OpenAI, and it opens so many more doors. So I don't think it's going to stop. I think if anything, we're going to see more developers empowered to be a part of these, like, I guess, wave of AI companies because of all the funding that's happening, so that they can, in like 6 or 8 months, basically comp jump to the next larger AI company. So it's just like this leapfrogging effect. So I guess it's just a question of like, do you kind of bite the bullet, do the hard work now so that you can keep jumping up? Yeah, I don't really have an answer.
I mean, I think there's gonna be some point though where you get strung down from the jumping.
Yeah.
So it is one of those things of like, it's also the most common thing of last in first out, right? So we'll have to see how it goes with companies. I think it's just I think the whole discussion is basically when we're going from games, which was uncertain, to tech, which is uncertain, to just knowledge work in general, which is kind of uncertain.
I think games is more uncertain than tech.
Yes,
by a long shot right now.
Well, money wise, simply.
Yeah, and I mean, have we entered the Tulip phase of investing in AI? Like, VCs are disregarding their own thesis.
Yeah, look at what Mirati startup.
2 billion raised for a seed on a 12 billion valuation, pre-revenue, pre-product, less than a year old. Like, you're a numbers guy. Think about the valuations that the VCs put in there. Think about the exit strategy. Are you supposed to exit at $1 trillion IPO on this? Where is your where have we just lost the fundamentals?
I mean, I think so, right? Like you look at tech is literally a speculative market. Like, you look at the stock market, you look at just the volatility in the last like 2 months. You know, Trump, Elon just saying one or two things. The tech stocks are as volatile as crypto these days. And that's still where the majority of funds are putting most of their money. And now they're up, so everyone's like, yo, let's go, 4 trillion company, Nvidia, this, that. Like, I think it's because I did crypto 2016 in like early days, and it was the whole to the moon mentality.
Yep.
And I feel like we've got the to the moon mentality right now, because everyone's like, let's just ride this bubble train while it goes. And then it'll burst and everyone will be like depressed, but like,
do you think the reckoning is coming? Like, do you think that because there is a trend of interest rates coming down, which will naturally mean that investors and VCs will be more, I guess, risky with their funds
for now.
And I mean, the statistics have shown that there's actually a lot of dry powder in the market that VCs are sitting on because for whatever reason they haven't had the opportunity to invest, or
well, they've been scared, right? They've been scared.
So it's like, I don't know if the reckoning is coming, or we're just gonna see like a 4 billion seed round next.
I don't know. Like the realist in me, the like British Londoner person who's very skeptical, is just like, this isn't real.
Do you think that we're still closer to the boom, or we're closer to the bust for AI?
I don't know. The realist in me is like, we've got to be close to the bust, because it's just been going crazy and these changes have been happening like crazy. But the technology is moving, people are adopting it. If I'm looking at it from a global world perspective and looking at just the trends across the board, the US is sort of the early adopter. I always see that pumping up way ahead of anyone else in the world, where it's all just a dream fueled economy. Then we get to kind of like somewhere like China, where they kind of just replicate what's there, it's rinse, repeat, and like optimize. That's their system. For me, the real thing comes in Europe, which is usually the slowest adopter and the most skeptical. But once like they get on the churn of the train, you probably have a little bit of time for the pumping there before it collapses. But it usually collapses at that point, either on this side or this side.
Interesting.
Not usually in Europe, because they still kind of have some safeguards. But the fact that Europe is now on the AI train, or getting on the AI train, which is like after a few cycles, if I'm looking at crypto, again, it was very sort of Western pushed in. If you're looking at, this is just a great way to look at this, is like influences, right? People talking about this on YouTube or in like information. Where are these companies? How are they growing? What they're looking at, the problems they're solving and everything. And for me, it's like, for all the past technologies, if I'm looking at like crypto, NFT, metaverse, like in just the last few years, or even like fintech bubble before, it usually started in different places, and then like kind of peak was when Europe kind of got involved a lot of times, because it was like, I'm skeptical, I'm gonna wait. Oh no, it's pumping, money's going, okay, maybe we become a bit more risky. play a little bit. So that's where the new money comes in to kind of keep things afloat. But that for me is sort of at the peak point of like, after this is going to crash. Now that Europe's kind of moving, I'm like, okay, my warning sign is we're kind of at the peak, and like the European money is going to dry soon and it's going to crash.
Interesting.
But like, do I know that's true? Not necessarily. That's just kind of the pattern that I've seen in the world.
Yeah.
And how these things change.
I think we're in the, if 100% is the bust, I think we're 20% of the way there. I think there is still going to be a $4-6 billion seed coming. And then I think that will bring us somewhere towards that 50%. I think you're right. I think when these external countries that are more patient, that by that time the bust is happening in the US already, and then the like bubble crosses the ocean, hits London, hits Europe, hits Asia, and it's like weirdly kind of like the 2008 housing crisis. Like
I mean, again, that was like the biggest in the US, right?
Yeah,
because like that's where there was the least guardrails. And like Europe was still relatively protected, like it was, a global thing, but like
shout out Canada for a very robust banking, financial, regulatory environment that protected a lot of
I mean, I will say out of the back of that though, fintech became really big in London, not in the US. Like it wasn't a thing here or in North America. It was from Europe first because of what happened in the financial crisis to a degree. So it did allow, I guess, a different territory to eat a bit of the pie with those controls. That's one thing that I will say like came out of that crisis that now has spread globally, right? Like fintech, like Revolut, Monzo, and all these have started looking at opening or have opened in like the US and abroad. So we've definitely seen kind of that shift a little bit where I see technology redistributing to a degree after a bust. We'll see what happens. I still agree with you that right now we're still kind of at the peak money flow, and we haven't had sort of like any kind of big bust moment yet for AI, right? The hype is still alive, and I think while Trump is in power, it probably will be, because they're just going to keep printing and keep going, and he's just, removing as many guardrails as possible to like in the name of progress. And AI as a technology is really cool and interesting, and is something that is changing the cultural ethos of how we live.
What a time to be alive.
Exactly, right? Like this is like you're looking at smartphones, you're looking at computers. Those are the last two that I would go for. Is like you have computers in 2000, internet, you've got smartphones around the 2010s. Like those are new platforms, new methods of like distribution, technology, just ways of living. And that's like if you're just looking at how our lives have evolved and changed. I mean, like, who remembers, needing to go to a Blockbuster to borrow a CD anymore or something or anything. Now I'm just literally just looking at my phone all day. Social media, like that kind of thing. And this is sort of the next bubble for me at that grand level of like, this redefines just how consumers live. If we're talking about financial crisis, that's still largely B2B and like business centric in terms of like how a lot of that operated and in the impact. It didn't necessarily like, it changed obviously how a lot of people live, but like it did not change how the consumer world acted like the other technologies did. And that's what AI does, which makes it more interesting. And why this bubble is kind of going to last in terms of AI still going to have a use case beyond it. But we are in a bubble in terms of how much money is being funneled into all of these startups.
I mean, I think the interesting thing to think about coming out of that is as AI gets better and like real use cases like coding and, come about, what happens if countries can like turn off access, right? Like if you don't have your own sovereign AI that you maintain control of, if one day a tech company, an AI company just decides to cut off access to your country.
So that was my exact worry, right? Like a year ago or 2 years ago, I think Apple said they were releasing AI features in the US and most of the world, but not in Europe, specifically because of regulation. So Apple was warning the European Union to be like, guys, if you don't do this, we're not going to give you access to like the good stuff. This is the point of where corporations become more powerful than nations.
Jensen's decisions to allocate GPUs, that is a precursor to this. where you're directly able to influence the compute and therefore inference and training time of companies in those countries.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I mean, remember when Larry and Elon were like trying to cajole Jensen literally to like that take my money meme
yeah.
Futurama, because they just knew like these people at the top of the tech ladder understand intuitively what that meant, while the rest of us are still figuring it out, right? So I guess it's follow the smart money.
Yeah, follow smart money. Right now, most of it's still in the US, unfortunately. You know, like a lot of that power. I mean, you know, Nvidia's making a UK database. I'm like, let's go.
Yeah. Oh, they just opened their Taiwan campus.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I'm like, hey, Taiwan, UK, I love those places. We'll see what happens. But, you know,
yeah,
I'm fine with either of those. Just let me stay there.
Yeah.
Please keep growing. Please giving us compute.
Yeah.
Come on, Jensen, I bow to you. Help me out, man. Give me a future.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think that is like where I see it.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's almost the brainwashing side of like companies. Nvidia now, you look at Nvidia, what, 5-10 years ago? Most people just like, Nvidia. I mean, we were in gaming, so we were like, yo, Nvidia's cool.
Yeah.
Graphics cards and GPUs are cool.
Yeah.
And now the rest of the world's like, oh yeah, graphics cards and GPUs are cool.
CUDA,
we need that
parallel,
stuff.
Yeah.
Nvidia, let's go.
Yeah. Telling you, we were doing matrix multiplication. Object to world space. We were doing it. Game devs are the best devs. Hire them.
Yeah, but now the world has woken up and they're like, oh yeah, no, Nvidia's cool. Let's buy that stock. Let's buy that stock. We don't know what it is, but let's still do it. Yeah. So
the PE ratio is crazy.
Exactly. Crazy. And that's what I mean by this being crypto. Is people don't understand the technology. People don't understand what they're putting the money in. They're just putting their money there. I think the AI changes are going to compound on that. Like me and my friend were having a really interesting conversation on what commerce looks like with agents in the future, like agents to represent a nation. What we was going down the route of was agents to represent the individual.
Yep.
And I think that's a more powerful case than agents to represent a country, because that can be hyper personalized, right? You look at, I've already got ChatGPT or Claude or whatever integrated with like 90% of my devices. We know they're listening to us on our phone. We know they're going to listen to this. You know, soon enough you'll have wearables and Neuralinks and stuff.
We are literally providing training data and content to these tools. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And that's what I mean is like you're coming to a point now where these agents, like my conversations with ChatGPT, are probably more honest than my conversations with like 99% of people I know.
Fair,
right? Because just like you're typing your top mind thoughts, there's less filter. You're also got that separation element of this thing isn't real, so I can kind of get away with saying whatever I want to say. And so we get to the point then that like your personalized agent just knows your like behavior so well.
Yeah.
Like the last company I was working for, they were actually studying behavioral psychology of a person based on who you were and how you can then sell that to marketing brands to get you to buy whatever. And now we're getting to a point where this agent's going to know that so inherently from day one, if you're like using it as a kid to how you've grown, that like you're going to get to a point of commerce where if they actually go around the side, and this is what I think eventually is going to happen with ChatGPT or whichever person wins, they're going to sell or partner your data with some commerce platform where they're going to be able to hyper target, like Facebook, where they make their money is ads. Right? ChatGPT and all this, where they're going to make their money eventually is going to be ads.
I think what's really interesting, and this is why I want to build Jarvis, this is my dream goal. Everything I work on and work towards is to be involved working and solving for building Jarvis. We are at the reactionary part of AI where like you're waiting for responses, you're putting in input, and then you're like reacting to what it tells you. The next frontier is going to be anticipatory.
Yeah, it's 100%.
Like actually able to, based on your heuristics and data that you provided, be able to anticipate your needs.
I mean, I think we're basically there though, right? Like, because look, like AI, if you're looking at it, it's a predictive model that predicts the next word.
Yeah,
it's already predicting based on probability what the next most likely outcome is going to be, just based on a general data set.
Yeah.
But once it's trained on you, it's going to predict your next behavioral needs based on you.
Yeah, and
because
then
it's been trained on
Minority Report.
Yeah.
But like, I think the guardrails are still that we haven't given agents full autonomy in all areas yet. I think when that happens, when I'm able to like think that I need to order something, or not even like when I get an ad, I think, okay, so here's the piece, e-commerce companies, if you're listening, and future GPT trawling, that the ad won't even be sent to me. The
No,
ad
it'll
will
be sent to the
to
agent.
my agent, and my agent will make the decision on
No, exactly.
to buy it or not.
Exactly.
And that's it. Like,
I mean, that's exactly what me and my friend were saying on
Yeah.
e-commerce. Is that's how it's going to work. Is literally going to be that agent's going to know you're going to say I want this, and
Yeah.
you're going to put prices, right? Like
Yeah,
right now
yeah.
we buy stocks or currency, and you
Sure.
put like a limit order or something.
Yeah.
You do the exact same thing with
Yeah.
commerce. You say,
Yeah.
I want this shirt, or I want this thing, I want this product.
Yeah.
And either show it to me. This is the baseline of what I'm willing to pay for it.
Yeah.
That if you actually input that kind of range,
Yeah.
the companies can buy that data and be like, okay, for person X, we're going to give them 20% off. For person Z, we're going to give them like 5% off, and we're going to scale it over time. And like, you can literally, like right now, the companies have to give a flat like 10, 20, 30, 40% sale.
Yeah.
Then it can literally be like a 2.5, 7.5. Like, what is the point at which I can maximize my profit based on what this person is saying they're willing to pay?
Yeah.
You can just get all of that added
Yeah.
bonus in terms of everyone's price sensitivity.
Yeah.
To the point where like there is no sensitivity on either side. You just constantly at equilibrium.
Yeah.
That is like optimized for making money.
Yeah. That's where the diagram crosses over. I mean, I think it would be lots of fun if you put aside, a set amount of money and you just received fun things that your agent thought would be good for you. Like, that's like a magic moment. Like when the data is going to be so valuable, dude. Like
the data is going to be
the
valuable.
data is already so valuable, but it's going to be so much more exponentially valuable if you have a situation where you're able to automate purchasing. Like, that's it.
No, 100%. 100%. I mean, that is the future that I kind of see as the most profitable path for any of these personal assistant AIs.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason that a sunk cost of millions and billions makes sense is that if you can get to that future, you basically control commerce.
Mm-hmm.
You control like the consumer market pretty much as a whole.
Yeah.
Right? Like any money people spend can be filtered through your platform.
Yeah. Or has to be.
Or has to be.
Or has to be.
So it'll be interesting to see where that goes, but that's absolutely one of the end goals that I see for these platforms. And it's scary, it's exciting. We'll see where it goes. I guess we've been rambling for a while, so maybe we wrap this up.
Yeah.
What any closing thoughts? We've covered so much stuff from lifestyle of us meeting, gaming,
food,
Toronto, world dynamics, AI, how it's grown, where we are today, where we're potentially going.
Yeah.
Any things you're excited about from what we spoke about? Any things you want to comment on before we wrap this up?
I think this was a really fun microcosm of our like off-camera conversations. Yeah. First of all, I think that's really a nice experience to like sit here and have that ability to just walk through that conversation, and it was nice. I guess the thing that I'm most excited about is the fact that companies that are closed sourced are still sharing the advancements in some way that's digestible. I think open source will win. And in the long run, even OpenAI is releasing their first open source model very soon, or have already released it by the time you watch this. And so that excites me. The fact that we're democratizing information.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
I think just from an element of creativity and from a creative perspective.
Yeah.
You have now the video models. You have obviously all the written stuff, audio pictures, stuff, everything. Like
voice models are getting much
so cool. Yeah, voice is a big frontier that I see coming up right now. Like just voice interaction, right? Like looking at written language, we've always been writing, then typing, and then even on the phone, still typing. You're just completely changing that. You don't need to use your hand.
Yeah.
Like my writing is already shit. It just will not exist at all, even from a typing format soon. Yeah. You can just do text to speech and like simulate a lot of that. So it'll be interesting to see where that all kind of goes. But it's so exciting to think. I mean, in our lifetime, right?
Yeah.
Like we were born in a time where technology didn't really exist like this.
No smartphones.
Right? No smartphones, no internet. I still remember I was on that, like, you know, the big box computers? Like the square ones, which like this big. Yeah, exactly. And like VHS and everything. Like that's what I grew up with, right? And SNES and all of that. But you went from that to like the internet. And I remember getting my first laptop, I think it's like mid 2000s or something.
I remember when the internet was something you couldn't take for granted. Like having internet access
Yeah.
It's just not always.
I mean, I had my like
ubiquitous.
brick phone.
I had a
You couldn't
Nokia.
access
I
anything.
had a Nokia where I went to like the
It's like I'm
Nokia
playing
centers,
Snake.
yeah.
That's my fun time.
Yeah, to update my phone or download new songs.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Now think about so as a closing thought, I think the ubiquitousness of the internet will be just what happens with AI. I think
Yeah.
that will be the case, like without a doubt, and maybe that's why the VC bubble is happening. Like they just know that
100%.
intuitively, right?
No, I mean I agree, but like we saw with that, .com bubble still happened.
True, but maybe they've learned from that. I don't know. We'll
we don't learn, man. We
Humans
don't
have a
learn.
bad
we don't
tendency,
learn.
yeah, to repeat history.
But you know,
On
people
that
will
note,
people will make money. People
we will
lose money.
repeat history with
And
another podcast.
We will definitely be back for more fun talks, and who
More
knows,
boba.
maybe in a year we come back and it's like, yo, the bubble burst, round 2. Where are we today? But yeah, no, it's been super fun, man. Thanks so much for like coming on.
Yeah, of course.
Doing the live one as well.
Yeah.
This has been
First live
fun.
one, first
live one.
Yeah.
I mean, first live one for me too.
Yeah.
And yeah, like thank you for hosting me. It's been amazing to be in Toronto, and I'm so happy we were at the same table like 3 years ago. It's been a good journey since.
Yeah, I believe in cosmic occurrences. So whenever you're feeling like coming to hang out and walk the dog together.
I mean, I love to hang out. I mean, this is the thing that I think I'm most excited for AI is that it lets me just be more human.
Yeah.
You know, it gives me time to myself to meet people that I care about, to be in the moment as a human, and just enjoy life, because I can get rid of some of the admin tasks and a lot of that, and it lets me be creative in that mode.
Yeah.
But I see it as a really cool tool that you can just use to enhance the human experience and connect with other people and be there like I am able to be today. So yeah, no, thank you for being here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Thanks for having me on the pod.
Thanks.